Hello and welcome to Echo at Africa, our new show that talks about the environment and innovations in green technologies. Here's what we have coming up for you. We head out in search of a tiny bird, tiny but strong enough to cross the Atlantic, called the Benin waxbill. They might be tiny, but Sahara dust particles do have a great impact on our climate. New trends, how tourists are becoming trash collectors, and then the ongoing effects of oil pollution in Nigeria's Ogoni land. Welcome to Echo at Africa. I'm Nel Taigwe. The small West African country of Benin is a regular paradise for bird watchers and birds themselves, of course. In contrast to neighboring Nigeria, where oil extraction has destroyed many natural habitats, Benin's countryside remains largely untouched. And that's good news for these two French ornithologists, or bird experts if you prefer, who have made it their mission to track down a rare and tiny bird that is threatened with extinction.
Julien Gonin is traveling on the Zoo River in southern Benin. He's an ornithologist and looking for a particular species of bird.
Bonjour, bonjour.
Together with his colleague, Fabien Massier.
We're going to the place where I spotted the Anambra waxbill for the first time 4 years ago. I didn't expect it here at all, but there it was. I was really surprised to see that bird here. I immediately opened my book, and it was the right one. But according to the map, it shouldn't even be here. It was a really special feeling for me.
Julien spent 4 years collecting money and preparing their project. Now there's a lot at stake for them. Will they find the bird? And if so, how many of them? To the locals like Laurent Okega, the European scientists are exotic.
I find it amazing that this white man has made such a long journey just for a bird. He came from so far away just to see a bird. I find that pretty strange.
But it's not just one. There are indeed plenty of them. The next day, Julien and Fabien catch 25 birds in their nets, and they now remove them as carefully as possible.
I'm shaking. It's the first time I've held one of these birds in my hand. It's very emotional, catching my first waxbill in Benin. It's an adult. Wonderful. It's tiny, tiny, tiny. I picked these red sacs because they match the red beaks.
Have these birds flown over from Nigeria, where they're in danger of extinction, or are they native here? It's not yet clear, but measuring the beaks and comparing them to those of their Nigerian relatives should get them some answers. What is certain now, in any case, is that this rare and shy bird does indeed live here. And these are the first moving images of it ever recorded.
From tiny birds to a sprawling desert, have you ever wondered what effects Sahara dust particles have on our environment? It might come as a surprise to you, but even the most minute particles can influence climate change.
Every year, some 5 billion tons of minute particles are absorbed into the air around us. Around half comprises desert dust. These tiny specks are between 100 and 1,000 times thinner than a human hair. The greatest producer of desert dust is the Sahara in North Africa. It's 26 times the size of Germany and is the largest hot desert in the world. So, does the Sahara dust have an impact on the global climate? Storms carry the dust particles up to 7 kilometers high. The air currents there then pull them west and over the Atlantic. The light-colored sand reflects and scatters sunlight, meaning that only part of the sun's radiation manages to reach the ground. That results in less heat stored in forests, lakes, rivers, and oceans, and less returned to the air. The particles also have an effect on rainfall. researchers have determined that the amount of water in clouds decreases as the amount of dust in the air increases. Most of the particles from the Sahara eventually descend over the Atlantic. At the equator, the drizzle of dust fertilizes the surface of the ocean with iron, phosphorus, and nitrogen. These minerals stimulate the growth of tiny marine plants. That in turn increases the ocean's ability to absorb and neutralize CO2 and other greenhouse gases from the air. Some of the dust makes it as far as South America. More than half of the minerals and other nutrients found in the Amazon rainforest, in fact, hail from the Sahara. These natural fertilizers are vital for the health of the rainforests and their capacity for absorbing CO2 from the air. The Sahara may be a hostile environment, but in the bigger picture, it's a life-saving source of nutrients.
So how often have you heard that when you see a problem, you should fix it? Marius Smith did just that. He was tired of seeing plastic waste polluting the canals of Amsterdam and decided to do something about it. He didn't know that his idea could turn into a thriving business, one that turned trash into something useful. And guess what? It turned out to be fun too.
Cruising the canals of Amsterdam. But Marius Smit isn't sightseeing, he's fishing. Fishing plastic waste from the water, that is. The stuff is everywhere.
Bottles, different kind of foam, plastic bag. That makes me sad if you see spots like this, just so much waste. I mean, how does this end up in a canal, you know? It boggles me, actually.
The city's canals are a tourist magnet. But wherever there's a lot of people, there's also a lot of rubbish. That's why Smit founded Plastic Whale, a company dedicated to fishing plastic waste from the canals. It's the first of its kind.
Yeah, my kids find it strange, of course, because normally dads work at the bank or have a normal job, and their dad is a plastic fisherman. So just recently my 6-year-old asked me, what in God's name are you doing all day, Daddy? And it feels strange to tell him that I am actually fishing plastic out of the water.
But he's passionate about what he does, and this enthusiasm rubs off on others. Marius Smit now has 20 employees.
It's good for tourism because people will say it's a clean city. So it's not only the environmental aspect of the job, but also really the aesthetics. I'm really proud to do this. Yeah, so I tell people all the time, and it's my favorite pastime, I guess.
But the company doesn't just collect plastic waste from the water, it recycles it. And turns it into boats. Their very own boat is made of plastic waste from Amsterdam. At first glance, this is all just dirty rubbish. But plastic waste also makes great material for constructing boats. It's light, robust, and stays afloat.
People, when they see our boats, they need to touch it because they want to see how we actually make a boat from plastic waste. They never actually believe it, but yeah, like I said, the process by itself is not that difficult.
Here in the company office, Smit explains how the recycling process works.
So this is a typical PET bottle that we use, or that we fish from the canals. And then it goes through a process of shredding and washing process. A number of projects.
And eventually it becomes small granules of plastic.
And from these granules, we make these foam plates. And they look like this. And these foam plates we use as basic material for the boats. So they form the basis of the whole boat.
He's already built 3 boats from plastic waste and is planning 3 more. Smith's business idea is inspiring others. Companies have started to book canal cruises with plastic whale. Fishing for plastic waste has become cool. Company outings are the firm's main source of income. Last year, it conducted almost 30 canal tours. Marius Smit is able to make a living off plastic waste.
Well, in our society, we need to change the perception of plastic. You buy a product, you unwrap it, you throw away the plastic, and it's gone. And if people value plastics differently, so they see that plastics should not be seen as waste, but as a raw material, people are treating plastic also differently.
And then he hopes people won't throw it into canals anymore.